So the king called his son Prince Attila to him and told him that he should go on this quest to bring back these three, an apple from a tree of life, the ring of true happiness, and the mirror of truth. Now, Prince Attila had never left his father's kingdom, so that night he tossed and turned, wondering how he was going to complete this quest, when suddenly, in the corner of his room, there appeared a blazing, effulgent light. And out of the light a voice spoke to Prince Attila and said, "Do not be afraid. Your tasks are not as difficult as they might seem. I am your guide. Take this amulet and wear it." And out of the light came this amulet, a silver chain on which there was an opaline stone. And the voice in the effulgence said, "Wear this amulet, and when you have a question, rub it 3 times. So Prince Attila put on his amulet, and the next morning, getting on his faithful stallion, he set out on the road, not knowing where he was going. But whenever he came to a crossroads or some doubt, somehow his guide showed him where to go. And before long, he found himself entering a realm he had never seen before. Gardens, trees, such as did not appear in his father's kingdom. And then he found himself at a great iron gate. But at his touch, the iron gate opened, and he was able to pass through, and there before him was a tree laden with apples. His guide, now not even a voice, just an awareness, rose up in him and said, "Pick an apple from this tree. It is the tree of life." And so Attila picked the apple, but as he did, a swarm of insects attacked him and bit him all over. So he quickly rubbed the amulet 3 times, and immediately the swarm of insects disappeared, as did the pain of their stings. Getting on his stallion once again, he rode out of the garden, not knowing where he was going, but guided again by not a voice, but now an awareness. And pretty soon, tired and thirsty, he came to a river. He got down from his horse, and both of them slaked their thirst in the cool water. But then Prince Attila realized that he was very hungry, and just down from where he'd been drinking, he saw 3 maidens washing their laundry in the river. So he asked them, "Where might I find food and a place to rest for the night. And the three maidens pointed to a farmhouse up on a hill in the distance. So Prince Attila made his way up. And when he knocked on the door, he was welcomed by the farmer and his wife. He was given food and given a little room off the kitchen where he could rest for the night. But just after they'd finished their meal of soup and bread, there was a knock on the door. And the farmer said, "Who could that be at this time of night?" When he opened the door, there was an old beggar. And the farmer welcomed the beggar in. Come, you must be tired." And he was given soup and a blanket so that he could lie down by the fire to sleep. But through the night, Prince Attila heard groaning and moaning. And when he investigated, he could see the old hermit, obviously in great distress, pain, deathly pain. Inside him, it became very clear, not as a voice, but as clear as any voice. Give him the apple of life. And so Prince Attila fetched the apple, and the old man take a bite, another bite, until the apple was gone. And before Prince Attila's eyes, an amazing thing happened. The old man not only recovered, but his hair turned black, the wrinkles disappeared, and vitality shone out of him. "Oh," said the old man, "now at least 50 years younger. Thank you, Prince Attila, thank you. In return for the gift you have given me, I give you this ring, the ring of true happiness." "How did you know who I was?" said Prince Attila. "Oh," said the old man, now young, "I was brought here by your guide. Now I can complete my quest." The next morning, the old man, now young, was gone, and Prince Attila had in his possession the ring of true happiness. The farmer wanted him to stay, but Prince Attila went on his way on his faithful stallion. He set out for the end of the world. After journeying for a long while, it seemed, he came into a terrain unlike the garden, unlike his father's palace and realm. He had to seek a place for the night in a dark cave, and in the morning entered an area filled with cloud, filled with mist, but guided by some inner force, he wound his way through the mist and cloud until in the distance he saw a great palace, the palace at the end of the world. When he came to the palace gates, the guard accosted him. "What do you want?" And Prince Attila boldly said, "I've come to see King Mendoza." Now King Mendoza had looked in the mirror of truth and knew that the prince was coming, so the gates were opened to him. But when he was brought into King Mendoza's presence, the king was not at all happy. His whole demeanor was one of sadness and dejection. And he said to Prince Attila, "I have everything. I have wealth. I have a grand palace. I have servants. I have concubines, wives. But I'm not happy." Again, Prince Attila, from his inner guidance, took out the ring of true happiness from his saddle bags and said, "Here, wear this." As soon as King Mendoza put on the ring, a great sense of peace settled in his heart, and from that peace emanated a happiness such as he'd never experienced before. He jumped and danced for joy. "I'll give you anything, my kingdom, anything, for this gift," said the king. "Will you give me the mirror of truth?" "Yes, yes," said King Mendoza. And taking the mirror of truth, Prince Attila took his leave and began the journey back to his father's realm. When he entered the outskirts of that kingdom, there before him on the road was a great demon of gigantic proportions. It had devoured everything in its path and held at this moment in its mouth a maiden. Prince Attila rubbed his amulet 3 times, and taking out his sword and rising in his stirrups, he rode towards the great demon and severed its head from its body. Prince Attila rescued the maiden, and we know, as stories go, she was so beautiful, he fell immediately in love with her. She said, "I am a charcoal maker's daughter." But Prince Mendoza knew she was the princess of his heart, and he rode with her towards the city of his father. But when he entered the city, all the doors were closed, everything was shuttered, and when he came to the gates of the palace, they were locked, bolted, and padlocked. Prince Attila took out the mirror of truth and saw that the people were deathly afraid of the great demon. So he shouted at the top of his voice, "Come out, come out, you are safe. I have killed the demon." Suddenly the doors opened and people came running out into the streets, greeting him. And triumphantly they led him to the gates of the palace that opened in front of him. He went to greet his father, the king, who joyously embraced him and said, "Where are my gifts?" And Prince Attila told the whole story, leaving out no detail, and then handed the mirror of truth to his father, the king. The king thanked his son for this gift and said, "By far, this is the greatest gift of all, because our story, we know it well. We have our awarenesses that have arisen along the way. We know its symbols, its sacred numbers, its archetypes. What is that which completes the sentence that the king said in thanking his son? "This is by far the greatest gift of all, because the gift of the mirror of truth." What does it mean for us? How would you complete this sentence? This is the greatest gift because. What is this mirror of truth for you? Where do you stand in relationship to life now? When you look out at life and all the experiences come and go, what is this mirror of truth?